What is up? It is Smoke Show number 2. So glad that you could join us wherever you may be. Thanks for tuning in to the Woodward Sports Network. Mike Ivesel is down there. The chef, the butcher, the man.
Hello.
Dave Hubbard is in the middle. Boys, this is a special day today. It's steak day.
As Mike would say, Steak-A-Palooza.
Steak-A-Palooza. Steak-A-Palooza is about to drop. And is there a better background than this steak right here?
That thing is sweet, isn't it?
So that reminds me, I've got to get over to this grill and move this steak for some nice grill marks here. I'll be right back.
We literally have a tomahawk sitting on there right now, Dave.
So I'll tell you what we did. We cheated a little bit because we're in a studio. So instead of just throwing some steaks on a grill and hoping that we get them to temp and everything works out, we sous vide them.
Ooh, fancy. That's almost as fancy as accoutrements.
Well, we have that for something that we're going to make live in a minute here. But we have sous vide. So we sous vide all the steaks. We put them in a nice water bath to get them to the perfect temp, right? So we're looking for 129 and that nice and rare. And so then we can take it, throw it on that smokeless grill there, and just sear it and get a nice little crust on there, which gives us a nice bite on that steak.
You know, would I be able to jump in here real quick? And,
of course.
And sorry to cut you guys off, but I am just as excited as you to jump to these steaks. But let us not forget episode 1 that we just shot and Mr. Brisket.
Mr. Brisket.
Mr. Brisket.
Sean's favorite. Well, I know we had a few questions on Twitter.
Yes.
And you can now follow the Smoke Show.
Yeah.
WSN on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all those good places. But there was questions. The questions were, how long did we smoke the brisket and at what temp?
And at what temp? And what temp did you get it to? And I think someone asked about that lovely butchery rub you have.
So again, we're going with the KISS method. Keep it simple, stupid. And the rub is very simple. It's a little bit of paprika, a little bit of garlic, salt, pepper, a little bit of granulated garlic, and a touch of smoked paprika if you want a little more smoke flavor in there. I kind of change it up. The one that we have that's just at the store every day is kind of a secret recipe. It works really well. Sean describes it. Sean describes it as almost having a Kansas City kind of thing going on, right? Where it has a little bit of heat, but a touch of sweet. We do put a little bit of brown sugar in there. So if you don't like sugar, know that there is a touch of brown sugar in our barbecue rub, if you will. Today we're going to be talking about steaks, and we do have a steak rub as well. So we do our own kind of steak rub. That's very simple as well. Salt, pepper, white pepper, black pepper, both. And a little bit of smoked paprika. That's one of my favorites.
I put that bleep on everything. I put it on everything.
You know, there's one thing that you always have to remember, and I tell people this, and it's not to be snobby, but it's really to take less out of it. And I think it goes hand in hand with the KISS theory of keep it simple, stupid. Don't worry about time. If you're doing a brisket, know that it's going to take a long time, okay? Yep. Now, obviously, there's a difference between doing, let's see, I've done a 24, I've done a 17, I've done a 12, and I've done a 9. Now, obviously, you have to be cognizant of that. But Dave, from day one, we've always said it's about getting to temperature. Yep. And if you get in that magic area between 201 and 204, and we talk about the jiggle for a reason, not just to make fun. You can tell looking at it. There's a jiggle to it. Like, you're going to see with this guy. He has this ability that I do not have yet to look at a steak and know what it is, to know where it is. And Dave, you've been right every single time I've watched you do it.
That's just the time thing, right? Or time as far as I've been doing it forever, right? Yes. But quite honestly, you're right. As far as barbecue goes, that brisket, it's all about getting it to a temperature. It's learning for a steakhouse or a chef guy like myself first. When I'm going into the barbecue realm, it's thinking it's not about rushing to the temperature. It's about getting to the temperature in the right amount of time. I know that sounds a little crazy, but if we rush to 205, we could burn up the outside and it doesn't make sense. We have to slow and low, do the barbecue, let the meat sing, right? And you were talking about it in the episode, the brisket, letting that collagen break down, right? Yep. Letting that fat kind of break down, hitting that stall, and then we got to work through it, right? So keeping that temperature, you can do like on your Traegers, your pellet grills, keep a more consistent temperature for you, right? So those are a lot easier to manage. I would say 225 to 250, you can leave your brisket in there until it hits that 204. You can get to that 160, 170 crutch, right? Yep. And kind of wrap it. in some paper or foil, if you like. Add some moisture back in there if you want, and then throw it back in the smoker and then finish it. Or you can do it fast and hard, pardon the pun, but I mean literally 275, 275, and let that bad boy smoke for probably a couple hours less, but it's going to go through. You're going to dry out a little bit on the edges because it's just natural with the higher temperature and the shorter smoke. But those can then become chopped up and then thrown in and become your burnt ends or your double smoked meats, which, oh my gosh, the flavor takes it to a whole new level, right? So again, today I have something for you to smell, Sean. Thinking about taking things to a whole different level.
Surprises.
Oh, boy.
I do. I love surprises.
So our secret recipe this week is, if you can see, I've got some raw steak here. Everything's steak today. We did the sous vide thing, so we let the steaks come up. We got a bunch of different steaks, and we'll talk about them as they come out. We have some USDA prime, some Wagyu, some wet age, some dry age, and we'll talk about all that. But first, I want you to smell some of this cool stuff I got going on here. Check that out. It's finishing salt. Some of it has some smoke on it.
Delicious.
Yeah, that has
That's a
what is it? It's herby.
Yeah, it's like an herby, almost flowery type of
Rosemary.
Yeah.
So this here, I think, will go great with the steaks, right? So we throw a little bit of this finishing salt on that steak and get a nice little.
This
I gotta
is, you know
smell
what
it.
I was going to say, smoke.
Smell that there, Mike.
I was going to tell you smoke, and then I looked at it and it says smoke. This is smoke sea salt, and it smells like,
it's beautiful.
Smoked sea salt.
Yeah, it's beautiful, nice and big. But the flavors come through. It gives you that bam, you know, that kick of flavor at the end. But we're gonna try this in our steak tartare. That's what we got.
Steak tartare.
We're gonna make some steak tartare. And while I'm making the steak tartare, Sean, do you have any questions about meat?
No, you know, the one thing that I think that people talk about is the tomahawk. Not only is it fun to look at, and true story, the first time that Mike and I were in Dave's store, I was chasing Mike around with the tomahawk. That's a true story.
It happens every time.
No, it does.
Let's be honest, it wasn't
wait
once.
till you see it at our house. Then we're really loud. Like when Mike comes over to my house, then I'm really loud chasing him. It's like the kids playing cowboys and Indians. The Tomahawk Steak has a special place in people's heart. I was actually talking to former Detroit Lion TJ Lang about steaks, and the first steak that he brought up, Dave, was the Tomahawk Steak. And for people out there that maybe aren't familiar with the glories of the Tomahawk Steak, and I'll definitely sing them, in your mind, as a butcher, as a chef, what makes the Tomahawk Steak one of the most oft-talked about steaks?
It's that fat cap, and it's that spinalis or that ribeye cap, right? That piece. And look at this. This is almost like right on cue. Mike had seared off a nice piece of tomahawk that we had already sous vide.
I set it up there for your chef fingers to tell me if that temp was getting there. I thought it was.
Mike, it's sous vide. The temp is already there,
that's right?
So the temp is already there. We're just trying to put a little sear on there, a little texture, a little color. But that bad boy looks really nice. Anyway, what I was saying is it's this cap piece on the bottom, right? Or the top, if you will.
Yeah, hold that up.
So you got that nice piece up there where all that fat is. Unbelievable. That's where all the flavor is. That
Best
fat kind of
piece on the
renders.
cow. That's the best piece on the cow.
I might beg to differ on that one, but I will say steak wise, this is the one right here. That's the grand poobah, if you will. This bone-in tomahawk steak that we have today is from Snake River Farms. Snake River Farms is American Wagyu. So in Japan, you have the Kobe cows, which is like, you know, that marbling that's almost as white as the kitchen towel I have. They brought those cows over to America, and then we call them Wagyu. So American Wagyu beef, same kind of thing, just crossbreeding them. And we have this, I'm telling you, the marbling on it is unbelievable. Well, we threw that in the sous vide for about an hour at 129 degrees. So the internal temperature of this thing should be right on the money. And I put a little bit of seasoning salt, a little bit of fresh garlic, a little bit of fresh thyme on that bad boy. I'm going to move this and set it right on your plate there, Sean. If you can start chopping into it and take a taste. I've got all kinds of cool stuff around. I got some of the steak sauce.
Oh, we know who the favorite is today.
Listen,
I get it.
Mike, you got to keep cooking, buddy. Good, let's open up another couple steaks and we'll tell them what we have. And we got some USDA Prime bone-in New Yorks, USDA Prime ribeyes, USDA Prime filets. Now, we have some are wet aged and some are dry aged. We'll talk about aging for a hot second here while Sean busts into that tomahawk. Wet aging is where we take the whole cut, say a whole New York or primal cut, if you will, or a whole short loin that gives you the T-bone in the Porterhouse. We take that whole piece of meat and we vac seal it and we let it kind of sit in its own juices, and that is called wet aging. So it sits in its own juices for a good 28 to 32 to 35 days, and then it comes out real nice and soft, gives you a nice hefty beefy flavor. The dry aging gives you the same extra beefy flavor, but what you're doing is you're setting the meat, the same primal cuts of meat, not in a cryovac or not in a sealed vac, and you're setting them in the cooler, and it's going to be temperature controlled. You're looking for 32 to 36 degrees. There's probably a fan in there kind of circulating that air, no different than that sous vide, circulating the air in that cooker, that water bath, so circulating there and getting a little bit of even temperature cook. So we're getting that same things going on inside the dry age room. We got the meat that's sitting there at that perfectly temperature controlled room, and you got some salt kind of pulling out some of the moisture. So I'm gonna bust in real quick. I have a secret ingredient this week that's steak, but it's not really steak. Because I see someone walk in here by the name of
someone
Joy
coming
Bell.
in that might like
Joy
this.
might want to try this. I took some cabbage and made a cabbage steak out of this. I'm gonna throw it on the grill. A vegan. We threw it in the sous vide for about an hour, so it softened up that cabbage. And this should eat like a steak. We're gonna throw it on that grill, and we'll get that bad boy ready for you in a couple minutes. Come back.
You know what's funny,
Yep.
Dave? Is
We're always thinking of you, Joy.
know, when you talk to food fans, when you talk to aficionados and everything, everybody remembers their favorite steak, right? I mean, seriously, everybody. We actually, Joik and I, were talking about it on the show. You remember where you got a good steak? I'm not joking when I say this. He made me the best steak I ever had with that 5,298 day wet age steak. It was. 100%. I mean, honestly, it was. To me, that was the best steak I've ever had.
So I have
How many days was it?
It was about 48, but I have some wet aged fillets over here that we sous vide. We got them up to about 129, and then we're gonna throw them on that little smokeless grill there. Does that steak need a little more time there, Sean?
It's fine. Look, you want to take a look at it?
No, I'm not.
It is red, which is the way it should be. Let's put it that way.
So I have another secret. Well, I'm going to continue to make this steak tartare. I've got something super special for you, Sean, because I know you like blue cheese like I like blue cheese.
I love blue
it's
cheese.
up there in the top, right?
Absolutely.
So check this out. I made a nice little blue cheese spread kind of thing here that you'll put on your steak. I'm telling you, this is going to take it to a whole new level. You're going to love it. Blue cheese, little butter, little sour cream. Check that out. You might get in there and try some of that steak. So that there is that's the Snake River Farms American Wagyu. So that bad boy's got a nice marble to start with. It's going to be nice and tender. And what I got here is that prime filet that I'm chopping up to make some steak tartare. I'm going to throw it in a bowl. You want to mix that up, Sean?
Absolutely.
Let's talk about all the accoutrements to make that steak tartare.
Can we talk about your zip sauce, by the way, too?
Go ahead.
His zip sauce is tremendous. I'm somebody, I don't like a lot with my steak. I don't know how somebody disrespects it with A1 or whatever the case may be. But a good zip sauce is something that can add to it. Maybe add it to a few crusts of bread, whatever the case may be. He's got a tremendous zip sauce. Dave, I think it's safe to say there's like a little Asian flair to it. Is that a fair statement?
5 ingredients, very simple. You've got black pepper, cracked black pepper, fresh. You have some garlic, some parsley, oil, and soy. Very simple, very easy to make at home. Sometimes I like to put a little bit of red pepper flake in there too, jazz it up a touch. But that blue cheese, isn't that nice? It's not like overwhelming, but it's blue cheese, and it's a nice little spread that goes really well on that steak. Or you could even cheat and put it on this tortilla chip. Probably make it a nice little dip. But and which leads me to, I did make toast points for our tartare because Mike can't really have the bread. So I try to think of everybody when we're doing our stuff.
That was nice of you.
So I'm thinking I might want to put smoked show. Let's add a little bit of this smoked salt to this steak tartare and give it a little bit of smoke kick to it.
Yeah.
What do you got going on over there, Mike? How's that going for
Well,
you?
you threw a couple back on there.
Give me my ingredients in there.
I think our bone-in strip is good.
So what do we have for ingredients, just to let everybody know?
672 day wet aged is good.
So we got some Snake River Farms sirloin. We've got the USDA Prime bone-in 48-day wet aged.
Did you
New
say
York strip.
Did you say Snake River Farms?
Nice hat you got
Like
there.
that?
Yeah.
Nice placement of that. Thank you very much.
What kind of accoutrements do we put in the steak tartare?
So I chopped up some fresh parsley here, and I'm going to throw that right in there.
All right. You want Dom capers in there?
I'm gonna come right over there and talk right next to you if you don't mind.
Yeah, go right ahead. You want me to go one by one?
Yeah, let's go.
Dom capers.
Capers. We got. We'll throw some egg yolk in there next, and then you want to kind of work it while we're work the meat and all your accoutrement, if you will, or your proper stuff. Yeah, a little bit of egg. So what we're doing is we're kind of breaking down and cooking the meat. Go ahead.
I gotcha.
We're kind of a little bit slowly cooking the meat a touch. So I'll tell you what you're putting in there as you put it in. We got a little bit of shallot. Got some Worcestershire sauce. Worcestershire. Some red wine vinegar. Some lemon juice. Olive oil and some fresh chopped garlic, and then we will put some of this smoked salt in there at the end. Just a little bit, Sean. Don't go too crazy.
Yeah, I got you.
And I like a little bit of vinegar or punch from a vinegar hot sauce, if you will. So you can put a couple splashes of this in there. And so we'll talk about the aging, or not the aging. I'm sorry, the grading of meat. So I know I've been talking about USDA Prime and Wagyu. USDA Prime grades out. It's the top 5 to 8% of all cattle raised here in the United States. And the Wagyu, the American Wagyu, grades out even higher than, has more marbling and more of that good marble, if you will, that good fat. And so we only handle the good stuff at the butchery, the USDA Prime and American Wagyu. And go ahead, throw a little bit of that smoked sauce. That's about it. The little pinch there. And then I'm gonna let you go ahead and make sure you got it nice and mixed up. And don't be afraid to kind of grind it up against that bowl. You want to kind of break it down a little bit more as it's going along. And we can add a little bit of this here. We got a little bit of salt and pepper, a little kosher salt. Just a touch, Don't go crazy. That's good. Whoa, you went crazy, Sean.
I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. Not a big deal. So what we're gonna do is Mike's gonna slowly bring off some of these steaks off that smokeless grill we got going there. And I'm going to let you try some steak, some bites of steak, Sean. What do you think? Mike, you all right over there?
Art, we got something for you. Don't forget, we got your back over here. Art, our fine producer, Art, behind the scenes. Appreciate Art's work.
Art, just like...
I know Joik does too.
Yep. Art, just like Mike, has a issue with the flour, the glutens, so we got him some tortillas too. I think he'll like that. Art, do you like blue cheese? You can give me one of those, or... Yeah, awesome. Cool. That's awesome. So you should try this blue cheese on your steak when we send some over your way. Sean, let's do this. Let's take that...
Hey, that's blue cheesy.
Well, you could... That's good. That's the whole idea, yeah.
That's what
about your steak tartare? You're all over here trying
I'm ready.
You're all over the place.
I'm ready.
Try that. Try it.
Oh, you want me to try it?
Yeah, here. Let me give you a tasting fork here. Try it. Tell me what you think. And then do we have to add anything? Do you need a little more heat, a little more whatever,
Hold on.
You know what you're doing. You got it together.
I see steak tartare coming to the Baligian house soon, the way you're making this, baby.
No,
Come on now.
Good.
You got it.
You got it. You made it.
I did, didn't I?
Look at that.
Did you nail it?
Why don't you try
Did you
some?
nail it?
Why don't you come over here and try some?
Hey.
I didn't even put any of the hot sauce in.
So again, it's all about making these things that some people might think are a little bit hard or a little bit unapproachable. That's why we're here. It's really simple, really easy. You can do it at home. You can impress your wife next time, anniversary, whatever, holiday. You want to, New Year's Eve next year. You want to do something fancy. Boom, bam, a little steak tartare. The other thing is this: you can get in the kitchen, chop up that steak, and you really look like you know what you're doing. That's the fun part of it. Go ahead and display that. Take that steak tartare, display it right on that piece of wood there, on that cutting board, and then we're going to move on to the next thing here. We're going to start slicing up some steaks, and we're going to ask Sean what he thinks. Because I know you like I have all kinds of different stuff, right? The first time I came to your house and we did the steak thing, and I brought the tub of all this cool stuff, and you guys kind of looked at me like I was a little crazy, but I've got.
Well, you kind of are.
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
You kidding me?
All right.
It's boring to be boring, right?
Amen to that. Amen to that.
Anyway,
that's why we get along.
Right. So we have. You know what we can do
What's
on
that?
display here? Let's throw a little bit of this finishing salt on there, and that'll be nice.
Look at that.
Just thinking about that. There you go. Anyway, so we're gonna grab this. Looks like we got a Snake River Farms. This here is a really nice piece of meat, a sirloin steak that eats like a fillet. Gotcha, nice. And I got a good amount here, so we're gonna make a lot of friends with this bad boy. So I'm gonna slice up some of this.
Where would you like me to display this, chef?
Go ahead and set it right up there, right in front of you, so you can continue to eat as you see fit. But we also are gonna be we're gonna be sending over some of this Snake River Farms sirloin.
By the way, I just put probably one of my new favorites on this Terrace Major. Did I get that right, Dave?
You got it. The Terrace Major.
Where does that come from? Because as I was telling you before on the drive here, it's got such a beefy taste to it. I love it.
This sirloin steak is beautiful, by the way, there, Chef.
Did I get it?
That sous vide nails it. But what makes it even better is the fact that we can sear it and it doesn't get, it doesn't get cold. It kind of is nice.
It doesn't get cold,
steak
and it really is taking a little bit of the fear away of me overcooking that steak, because that is a huge fear of mine and Sean's.
You want to enjoy that marbling in there. So I'm going to put this here, and then
for me to come sneak it.
Yeah. So I'm going to pass it your way first, and then I'm going to cut into this boneless ribeye. I've got a USDA prime. Look at this. That sous vide. The sous vide breaks that meat down so perfectly that that fat cap. Look at that, Sean.
Thanks, pal.
The steak kind of fell apart. You got the center of the ribeye, and then the cap there. I got to tell you,
that's another ribeye.
This here is going to be those bites that are going to be, oh wow, right? There are going to be some umami moments going on right here. Nice USDA prime.
That's a strong beef. Like you gave me.
That's the 45-day wet aging on that sirloin. That Snake River Farms. It's wet aged, so it's sitting in its own juices, if you will, for 45 days. And what else to make it more intense than its own juices, right? That flavor. And then next to it, I have a piece of that ribeye for you there to try. Mike, I'm going to cut you a piece of ribeye
Dave,
as well.
you don't have to do a darn thing to this steak. There's no, you don't need zip. You don't need blue cheese. No disrespect to either thing.
No, you're fine. Yeah.
But this steak sells it.
Thank you, Sean.
The quality of the meat should do its thing, right? It's going to do its singing and do its own thing. But you can add some flavor profiles when you're doing the cooking, the sous vide.
Yeah.
So you can add some, like I did, a little bit of thyme, a little bit of butter in there. But you don't have to worry about seasoning it afterwards. It just turns out really nice.
See, I like the ribeye. Give me a little blue cheese with the ribeye.
Oh yeah,
the marbling on this ribeye is unbelievable.
But I think it's the cheese, right? So that cheese, the richness of that cheese is cutting with that fat, and then it all meets up really nice with the protein, the hardiness of that beef for you. Where you? So we have some other, So that Terrace Major, Mike asked me where's it from, and I got sidetracked. But so it's from. I'm going to grab this cow and I'm going to show you here. So it comes right in from that shoulder, that clod, right? So it comes right in there. It's protected. It's protected by all that chuck meat, that big old chuck. So it doesn't really do a whole lot. So it's kind of just this nice little piece of meat sitting in there. It stays kind of tender. Doesn't have a lot of marbling in it, but because it doesn't do a lot, it's super tender. And so putting that bad boy in the sous vide with a little bit of butter, a little bit of thyme, a little salt and pepper, it breaks it down and intensifies that beef flavor. And man, oh man, it looks like it's almost ready to come off. We'll get back to that in a second. Now, Sean, to your favorite steak, you said it was your favorite steak of all time. I got another one the wet aged filet. I got another one right here. Let me slice that bad boy up for you and see what you think. Now, ooh, this is nice. It's nice and rare.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tom Mazaway. Would you like some Maz?
Oh my God.
Live and in person, Maz. Come on in here and get some steak, buddy. Here, Mike. Here's some of that filet.
So this is the 822-day filet.
There you
Maz isn't
go.
having any of this.
Sean,
Hey, can somebody get Joik in here? I've got this cabbage steak for him. Yeah, please, thanks.
The melt.
So
that's
isn't it that
unbelievable.
filet is like hashtag meat butter?
It is. It
Is
melts.
it not?
It melts.
It is money. It's
Maz
definitely
isn't getting any of this.
It's worth it.
You can have whatever you want over there.
So I have that hunk of cabbage that we sous vide with a little bit of thyme and butter, and we threw it on the grill. That's steak tartare. You don't want that. That's just raw kind of.
Sean,
but I got you right here.
You
This
didn't
is
put blue
cabbage
cheese
steak.
on that, did you?
Do you
No.
like blue cheese, Joik?
I don't mind it.
Do you like soy and oil? Maybe something like maybe more of an Asian flavor. You can add one of those two things on there that'll kind of take this to the next level.
I do blue cheese.
So like a true steak, we'll throw some blue cheese on there for you, and you got to tell it it's cabbage. So but we'll see. Get in there. There's a fork for you.
Maz is going to have
And Maz, what are you gonna?
a big chunk of tomahawk.
Yeah. Never had. That's a nice rare piece of
Chef.
tomahawk for you.
Chef.
What's up there, Mike?
Where did that
You want
872-day filet just go? That has gotten me.
That filet.
That's
I think,
making my heart go pitter patter. That is unbelievable.
I put it back
Is
on
that
that grill to bring it up just a touch more. Here's some of that ribeye for you there, Mike.
Yes.
That ribeye is USDA prime. You got about 28 days wet age on the ribeye, boneless, nice and soft. You're gonna get that flowery flavor from that time, but you're gonna get the earthy flavor from that aging process going on that ribeye.
How's that going for you?
And you
Is that cabbage all right?
You
that
hear
blue cheese sauce is where it's at.
Yeah.
Sean,
See?
you hear way
See?
too many people talk
So-
about the wet age
So
or dry age and be
bring
afraid of
everything.
it.
I try to bring everything
it's
for everybody
better.
or something for everybody.
Yeah,
What's
this
next
is it.
here? We got a USDA prime. This one here is the wet aged American. This isn't prime. This is the American Wagyu, bone-in New York strip. This here is going to be really nice, Sean. I think you'll like this bad boy.
Hey, this is.
John, would you like to try that?
You know what though? I was skeptical about tasting this,
Okay.
and then the flavors are just infused into the cabbage.
So I took
don't
that
know.
cabbage, I cut it up, I took some fresh thyme, I took some steak salt, right? Some of that garlic and kosher salt and black pepper, and I took a little bit of butter, and then and a little bit of smoked salt, and I just threw that in the sous vide, and I let it kind of come up, slowly soften up the cabbage, and then we just threw it on the grill, so just like you would a steak. So and then you put some sauce on it or whatever, it kind of eats like steak or whatever, but.
Not bad at all.
Yeah, so I mean it's something different, but I don't really like that texturized vegetable protein and all this stuff that's kind of manufactured food. I don't like that kind of vegan stuff. So I'm trying to find other ways to impress you with the vegan and vegetarian, but not go out of a box or simulate it or produced food. I don't like anything that can be created from a chemical.
I like it.
So here's that American Wagyu aged New York strip, Sean. I'm coming over.
All right, here. I'm gonna give my boys over here a piece.
Yeah. Make some friends. So we also have some horseradish. You know that we talk about the Big Ten, Indianapolis, St. Elmo's. Put some of that horseradish on a steak.
talking about
I was just in Indianapolis for a hockey tournament.
That place has got the best
never
horseradish and cocktail sauce in the world.
Can you imitate it?
I can come close, but I just give you the bottle. They make it. But check this out. This here is some more of that Snake River Farms American Wagyu sirloin. Oh, that was really nice and soft.
Snake River Farm.
Yeah, more filet, Sean. You want some more of that that aged filet? Come here, Maz. This is the steak right here. This is a steak. That tomahawk is nice. It's got nice fat in it.
This is
and all that.
the world famous.
This right here is going to be like that meat butter that everybody talks about. Nice and velvety. It's soft in your mouth.
I'm not gonna steal it.
The flavor on it is going to say beef all day, but it's also going to be nice and soft so that you're not going to be chewing on it all day. Check that out. That's for you.
Thank you, Chef.
And then here,
Go
Sean,
ahead, let me know.
look at that. Beautiful. 129 degrees. That bad boy's right. That's nice, rare, medium rare. Just waiting for you. Dip that into that horseradish. That'll boom.
All right.
Now let's try a steak with some of this smoked this rosemary salt that kind of will give us a little bit of that rosemary next level kind of
I
thing going
appreciate
on.
this, Chef.
Thank you.
How's that?
Baby, that was outstanding too.
Like butter?
There's the butter.
Life changing.
Filet.
Like it melt.
Here's some filet, Sean, with that rosemary salt.
Dave,
So what we do is we're just breaking down that meat, aging it, right? Wet and dry aging. And when we throw it on that grill, the smells go out there, and everybody comes in from all over the place, which is kind of awesome.
That rosemary salt.
That rosemary salt, kind of cool, huh?
Wow.
So rosemary with steak is really nice. It kind of brighten that
You don't have to put
up.
a lot on there.
No.
I mean, it pops. But when I bit, it was like, wow.
That's what it's about. It's like taking those flavors and really enhancing them, right? So you got this awesome piece of meat that we cooked perfectly. We had a little bit of salt with a little bit of flavor in there. Boom. Next
The
level.
first time we met, if you remember when.
I got a grill.
All right, wait. We'll let Joyke ask a real question.
Yep.
Jesse said, it can't be. Jesse said there's no way this steak can be that good. They have people running in and out of here. I said, hold on, I'll go grab you a piece real quick.
I got you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So here's some American Wagyu sirloin.
And then I want Jesse to come in here and apologize to us in person.
Okay. I'm telling you.
All right.
So I'm having a flashback here. Back to the brisket show when he put that white truffle on it. Did you bring some white truffle?
Do you have some
Because I know the magic it worked with the brisket. Does it
I
work?
always have. I always got the. Listen, all the tricks I got up my sleeve, white truffle oil is always one of them.
Oh.
This stuff right here, it takes everything to the next level. And I also got that reduced balsamic. Balsamic syrup is, for some reason, one of my favorite flavors. But man, that truffle, it's like smelling like the funkiest funk, but it's the most beautiful funkiest of funk, isn't it?
I'm not kissing your butt because you know this happened. The first time Dave came over my house, you know, we have shindigs at my house, and so Dave, Mike, and I got together. And Dave, this is where the fact that you're a chef and a butcher, it's the perfect marriage because A, you know what the cuts of meat are, but to me, when I eat something, I want it to come in layers. And I told you, when it takes you someplace, like literally you put it in your mouth and you're going, okay, I just went someplace. Like that, to me, that's the W. You know what I mean? That's the W.
That's it right. That is it.
We talk
right
about
there.
depth of flavor and everything that we do, right? So slow cooking, I'll take a quick second. Slow cooking that brisket adds depth of flavor, right? Slow cooking, and that's what we did to these steaks. We in that sous vide, we slow cooked them, which is pretty awesome. You know, is being able to slow cook a steak that you want to quick sear and eat, right? So you can have the perfect temperature throughout. I keep saying it, but I was the most skeptical person. I'd never done sous vide before until we did it today, and I said, hey, let's see what happens. And Mike was pretty skeptical too, because he was like, if you're uncomfortable, Dave, I'm really uncomfortable. And so
Absolutely.
I was like, we're just gonna try it. We'll see what happens. But I mean, look at that. Nowhere else have I ever, and I've been cooking steaks for 20 years on infrared grills, charcoal grills, gas grills, pellet grills, any grill you can imagine I've used, and I've cooked a steak on it. This sous vide is pretty awesome. Look, the perfect temp all the way through. I sound like an infomercial over here.
Dave, don't forget to add in, now you've done it on a smokeless indoor grill too.
That smokeless indoor grill is the winner for this studio. I'll tell you what. It lets some of the smells out, but the smoke, it doesn't. So
Tim McCullum in the house,
look at
ladies and
this.
gentlemen.
Let's-
Lady Jane's VP. That's
another
your fellow,
friend.
right?
Come on in. Come on
You're
in,
the
Tim.
VP, right? President? My apologies.
Yeah,
It's
whoa.
El Presidente, the Jane's El Presidente. What would you like? You want some tartare? Would you like a tomahawk? You
I
want
got some ribeye cap. He wants
some
some of this
ribeye?
ribeye right here.
Just perfect.
This is what he wants. I'm slicing it up just for you.
I mean,
Yeah,
You like
know
blue
what?
cheese?
Listen, if you're gonna kiss anybody's ass, kiss his ass.
His ass?
Kiss his ass.
do I have to? Am I at that point that I got to start kissing
you
ass?
That's the guy you have to kiss. His
All right. I'm sure my wife's watching this later. I'm sorry about this, honey. Sean told me.
Sean, I don't kiss ass. I just cook steaks. So
Yeah,
so maybe
that's
this will do the
biggest
trick. There
So
you
look
go.
at that. You get
That's the
away. He
biggest
gets
W,
away, right?
Yeah.
You like blue cheese?
Exactly it.
No. Good. There you are. Try that. Tell me what you think. Got one right here for you.
Adam, you want some? I'm good. Okay.
So we have that. I got that Terrace Major out. That's got some wet age USDA Prime. It's wet aging for a good 28 days. This here should be nice and soft. It should have a nice beef forward flavor.
Beef forward. That's the first time I've heard that one, Chef.
Well, I mean, earthy. Yeah. It's gonna say beef. This is gonna say, if anything that we're making today says beef, it's gonna be this steak right here. It's cut from the chuck. It's gonna have that beef flavor, almost like that chuck roast, right? So,
Dave, I have to share with everybody too.
look, this is beautiful.
You know what you did for me last week, and I know I told you this, but I want to say it publicly. That flat iron steak that you got me was unbelievable. That was you sous vide it for me, and it was one of those things. It was like I was running around like a chicken with my head cut off. Like, today I have to go pick up my daughter, and you have to go here, you have to go there, and I fired that thing on the grill. Dave, it was a tremendous steak. To me, people disrespect that steak.
And because we sous vide it, it was quick.
Yes,
right.
it was perfect. It was
Dude, what
absolutely
is
perfect.
it about the
I don't
soup?
think they
Every time we've done this, I'm sorry, Dave.
Yeah.
Sean turns in the Dr. Seuss. You just did it again. I have to go here. I have to go there. I have to go everywhere.
will
Food brings
eat
out the
steak.
Dr. Seuss in you.
I will eat steak in the house.
I gotta take. It's really simple. Keep it simple, stupid, right?
Mm-hmm.
No. So what we did was we broke down that it's not that the flat iron is tough or odd. It's very hard to find, and you to get to it as a butcher, it's a very hard cut to get to, right? So it's in the arm, it's up in there, in that chuck, that clod, that blade. So you have this real thick piece of fat or sinew running through there that you got to seam out. A A lot of people aren't going to take the time to do all that. So what we do is we do take that time, and then you get that super beefy, thin, flavorful, tender piece of beef, right?
It was really tender. It was tremendously tender.
Don't go hiding, Maz. I got some more
What do you
steak.
got there?
Bring this over. This is some of that Terrace Major. Send it over
All right.
to Art and Maz.
Here
And
you
then
go,
I got
boys.
some for you here, Sean.
Oh, you're the best ever.
And it is, and tell me now when you guys are eating that Terrace Major, tell me if it has a little bit different flavor than
Thanks,
your
friend.
average steak. It's got a, I just say beefier. I don't know what I'm talking about. I just always refer to Dave, but that's why I say like a beefier.
Kind of like a
taste to
chuck
it.
roast, right? That pot roast thing going on. It's the same beef. The steak has more of a velvety, more of a steak flavor, I guess, but this is a little different. Good stuff. So what else we have here? I think we got a Porterhouse. Best of both worlds. We'll get you a little bit of both worlds there.
Can we
Go ahead.
add in here? Because I think people that follow us might
say
be
the lack of
interested.
fat on here.
When
That's
you
the difference.
vacuum seal,
Perfect. Go for it. Yeah. What'd you say, Maz?
Hey, come on, man.
Yeah, come
there.
in, say
No,
something.
man.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
this meat I'm tasting, it doesn't have an ounce of fat on it, so it's not going to have that ribeye type of flavor.
Right, yeah,
This
that-
this is like smooth, man, smooth as silk.
Yeah.
My
Clean
man,
as
Corey,
a-
okay, come on in here, buddy. Yeah, it has it so it doesn't get that you know how that fat kind of gets in the roof of your
yeah.
mouth. You get a little weird thing going on
Nothing.
sometimes. Not at all. Sometimes
is-
you like to char that flavor off, but this here,
It's beautiful,
super
man.
lean, super tender. We sous vide it, it's soft. It's just nice
I'm
stuff.
telling you right now, I'm going to let you in a little secret. Tom
Please.
doesn't know that I remember this. Tom thinks that we waste our time slowing
Baby meat. I call
Baby
it.
meat.
I call it baby
It's
meat.
baby meat.
I call it baby food.
His life
So-
is
so we
going
have
to
to baby
change
this food.
I know.
When he comes over and he tries that pulled pork and that brisket, man,
I know.
your life is going to change.
I know.
I promise.
I'm sorry.
I-
I admit it, man.
We're
I admit
joking.
it.
You know that.
I admit it. But I'll tell
Oh,
you,
is that good?
that tartare is amazing as well.
Yes.
Amazing.
Is that good, right?
Is that the first time you've had tartare?
It's the first time I've had steak
here.
tartare.
Yeah.
I'm Arabic. I'm Syrian.
Yeah.
So I have kibbeh.
Oh,
so I have
really
the-
close.
It's,
Yeah.
it's beautiful.
Almost
So
the
you're,
same
so
exact
you're
thing.
a Habibi.
Delicious. Habibi, exactly.
So it almost
Whoa,
has
bro.
the same kind of thing going on, right? So this one,
Absolutely.
the steak tartare is a little bit wetter
Oh, it's
because we put a little
delicious.
bit of egg yolk in there, a little bit of
Yeah.
the vinegar from the Tabasco and
Parsley,
whatnot.
is there parsley in there as
A
well?
little parsley in
Yeah.
there, little capers, so you get a little
Dom.
briny thing going
Love
on.
capers.
Salt, yeah, kind of finishes
I don't
through.
want to take Sean's mic.
No, it's all
No,
right.
go right
All
ahead.
right,
Give me more
Sean is
chance to
always
eat.
eating. Yeah,
I'm
totally.
the one that eats.
What I was trying to get to right before was
This
we want to
T-bone?
let these guys know
my
on
gosh,
Twitter
look
and
at
stuff because they're going to ask. Dave, when you vacuum sealed the meat before you sous vide it, did you put anything in it? You didn't just because this has got an unbelievable flavor. Whatever you did to it.
So every one of these steaks, before I threw them in the sous vide, I just salt and peppered them. A little bit of fresh thyme, a little bit of butter, and I put a little bit of fresh garlic. That's it.
And that's it. But bam,
It kind of comes through. Yeah.
it totally comes through 100%. You know it was in something.
Yeah. It's cooking inside there slowly, right? So those
Yeah.
flavors like the garlic and the butter, it's breaking down slowly, just like that meat is, right? So I'm taking this T-bone. This one here this is American Wagyu, Snake River Farms.
Snake
this
River
is 28
Farms.
days wet age, so this is sitting in its own juices, the whole short loin for about 28
Mike,
days.
how many days was that? 522?
765.
Good.
We sous vide that. That's a beautiful rare, medium rare, and then that's the New York side, and then let's see the filet side. You know the toughest thing to do on a porterhouse, right? When you're grilling the steak at home, right? What's the toughest thing to do? Get the temperature right on both sides.
sides.
It's impossible,
Yep.
right? The filet is really soft and tender. It's going to cook a lot quicker. But look at the sous vide.
I can see.
The temp on the filet is exactly the same as the temp on that New York.
Oh, is that beautiful?
That right
Isn't that
there.
lovely?
That right there
Isn't
is
that
worth.
lovely?
I'm going to give the sous vide most of the credit, but I'm going to put my arms up and say thank you, and I should just walk away and retire from my steak cooking days
Mike,
now.
you did a great job.
Thank you.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Try this filet right here, Mike.
All right.
Or Sean.
Because we talk all the time. Every time we get together and we do this, we talk about how afraid we are of overcooking steaks. My heart is pounding back here as I'm doing this.
But you know what? The sous vide did all the work, and we learned that today, didn't we? Let's get this.
Dave,
Sean.
I'm going to do
Oh,
this.
man.
Sean, I'm gonna tell you,
I'm going to
this-
be doing
this-
this. I'm telling
man,
you
like,
right now, man.
I hope everybody's not
that
just
the-
gathering because they're hungry and they're just being nice because they're hungry. But it looks really, really
Was
good.
that the filet side?
That's the filet side you had
Oh.
first. That thing should be like beef velvet, right? Kind of soft
Yeah,
in there.
oh, yeah.
Yeah. I can tell. By the end of this podcast thing, years down the road, you're going to have a million different words for how to describe meat that are not going to be traditional. So
don't cut that, Dave. I don't cut that. I'm like a proud papa here. I got to get a picture of this.
Beautiful.
I got this one right.
You did awesome. That Terrace Major, like Maz was saying, look at that. That's super lean. And the fibers of that meat kind of broke down in that sous vide. And that thing is just like, look at it, soft and jiggly. It's got that jiggle, almost like the brisket jiggle that Sean always talks about. Had that nice
That jiggle? Oh, yeah, that's bona fide jiggle.
The right bounce without the fat.
Oh.
Yeah.
The jiggle, the bounce.
try a
Where are
piece
we
of that?
going with this?
Of course. I'm sorry. So let me get you some of that New York side of that Wagyu T-bone or porterhouse, if you will.
I tell you what,
This
that
is
Snake River Farms is magic.
This is the Terrace Major, Sean.
I've told you guys before, I know I'm in the minority, but I am a strip guy. Don't get me wrong, I'm not going to disrespect the ribeye, but there's something about that bold strip taste that always jumps out to me.
They say it's the king of steaks for a reason, because it's like media, it's sturdier, if you will, stronger in your mouth. It could be a soft piece of meat that eats tender, but it's more tough. Not tough in the sense of tough to chew, but it's just manlier, if you will.
You just said it, eats this ate tender. This is a tender piece of strip.
But it's more meat, right? Less fat. So that's what we got here.
That cap on that ribeye gets me.
Oh,
So
that's the Terrace
I'm not
Major you're
kicking a
talking
strip
about,
out of bed, but I'm going with that cap on
Here,
that
now
ribeye.
here's your New York strip.
All right.
Here you go, Sean. The king of steaks, the man steak.
That's right. So, you got the Porterhouse, they call it the best of both worlds.
Yep.
The Tomahawk, they call that the steak that Uncle Sean and Mike come running through the butchery with. Oh, wait, no. They just call that a really cool steak, the ribeye with a long bone. But I'm going to go with you, Sean. And we've talked about a lot of different things today, grades, aging, all this fun stuff. But at the end of the day, if you ask me what steak do I want, if I'm going to sit down and have a steak, I love a boneless ribeye. I really do love a boneless ribeye. That cap on there is unbelievable. The flavor is just like, man, it's to die for. But I got to tell you, pound for pound, that American Wagyu right there, bone-in New York strip steak, punch you in the mouth good.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, like that, like you said, that just bold beef flavor, without the fat, without all that, without that cap. Maybe call me weird. I don't like that unless I can throw it. The sous vide, you can't, you break down the fat, but you don't get that like when we throw it on the Weber, right? Or when we throw it on the Traeger.
Sure.
You can char that fat and get get a little bit different flavor profile going on. So the New York doesn't have that. Straight grilled New York, bone in, money every time.
You know what? And I'll tell you what. We say this all the time. If you watch some of our YouTube stuff, you don't go to the grocery store to get yourself a good steak. You just don't. I mean, if you want a good steak, you go see a butcher, and obviously, I'll tell you to go see my friend at the butchery on Orchard Lake Road in Sylvan Lake. But
I found some more of that filet.
Oh, you did? Oh, I hate when that happens. But one of the most beautiful things about it to me is, if you have your druthers between a ribeye and a strip, I'm going to go with strip. But I'm going to tell you again, and maybe it's a case of you saving your pennies. It is absolutely, positively worth it to get yourself one of those wet age steaks. It's worth it. It's worth every penny that you spend. Your family will thank you. Your taste buds will thank you. It is, Dave, I told you, no joke, it is clearly the best steak I've ever had.
We've got to add in with that. You said something that kind of grates on me. You said about saving pennies, right? A lot of these people that are going in and trying to save pennies are the same ones that think they're all fancy by going to a steakhouse and paying $80, $90 for a steak for someone else to cook it. You go see a butcher, you get the best cut of meat like we're showing right here, and you get to go home and cook it yourself and have the pleasure of knowing that you cooked it half the price. So talk about saving pennies. And you can tip yourself after.
I think I just surprised myself. That filet...
It's unbelievable.
With a little bit of this blue cheese sauce that I made there, Sean.
Oh, wait,
my gosh.
I need blue cheese and filet.
You want to try it?
I need blue cheese.
Let me get that
I've
for
got
you.
blue cheese. Or you can get me some. That'd be perfect even.
Mike, you know what it comes down to, though? Just to finish your thought, I think people are scared. Like we were scared until Dave gave us the hands-on lesson on how to cook steak. I don't have to turn my steak over constantly. I don't have to. Okay, cool.
And what did we learn today, though?
Okay, I'll be back.
But wait a second. Wait. We're on a time. Then you're gonna have this. I'm a man. I have fire. I have grill. But I'm afraid to put a steak on it.
Amen.
Come on.
Listen. That Tomahawk Steak, a couple $100. I'm afraid to put that on the grill. What you threw it on that sous vide? We put it in the sous vide. What did we do? We pretty much made it really simple and very, very simple, stupid, right?
Right. And I hear you, Dave. I'm not saying I wouldn't be afraid, but let's just take a step back. I went home with a Snake River Farms tri-tip, right?
Oh my gosh.
How many times was I texting you guys? What I was afraid.
I told you.
What did I do? Man-made fire, man-made meat. I did it, and I nailed it. And my family still talks about it as the best. But you got to do it.
It's back to what? Get to the temperature. Get to the right temperature. Let the meat rest.
100%.
You know, the first time, it's so funny when you and I first did that first tomahawk that we got from him, right?
Yes.
We were like, Dave, I'm not joking. We looked like if you had a camera back in early man days, Mike and I were running around it like acting like early man because like on my Weber, the flame went so high.
Huge.
And like our mutual friend Dave Mitchell was going, "Wow, look at the flame." And Mike and I are going, "Woo!" We were early man. But you know, we knew from our let it go for a little bit. I don't have to be afraid of the flame. Mike, embrace the flame. And that's what we did.
I tell you what, go back to our Twitter and you'll see that picture of the tomahawk engulfed in flames. It's one of the best. Beautiful. It's one of the best pictures on our feed. Speaking of that, the Smoke Show, once again, we will say, has a Twitter and Instagram feed through Woodward Sports. Thank you, Woodward Sports, for giving us that.
Really, thank you.
Yep. Give us a follow.
Speaking of which, did we save any steak for stick?
We sure did.
Some steak
I got
for
some
steak?
of that. I got some of that wet aged fillet. The stuff. Your favorite steak. I saved it here when I saw him.
I mean, hey,
seriously,
Dave,
that's real stuff right
Dave,
there.
Do we dare say? I mean, it's nothing about steak, but it's a panty dropper. I mean, that steak is unbelievable. That is the best steak. It's unbelievable.
It is.
That's why we're giving it the stick or anything. That's the best steak ever.
It's a great steak. It's nice and tender. It's soft. But yeah, it says everything that you want it to say when it comes to steak.
No one's going to have that meat in their mouth and not be impressed. But
I love that one.
Carolina games are postponed for the next few days.
As soon as that was going off, I told you COVID.
Yeah, that's why. Because I told Mike earlier, in case you're watching this, my alert on my phone went off. So that's why I was like, why is the NHL hitting me up? Carolina games.
Well, that does impact because as online gambling opens up this weekend, I've got some money that I'm thinking it was either going to be the Islanders or Carolina. I need a team from the East for the Stanley Cup. I think that might put it on the Islanders. COVID just took Carolina's chances.
Okay.
It's pretty early.
Fair enough.
Pretty early there, Mike.
Is there anything else that you want to hit? Don't be afraid of steak. I mean, to me, that's like, I'm not being funny. Don't be afraid of steak. Everybody gets... It's almost like early in the days when we're still amateurs, but Mike and I were very amateurs.
Yeah. Like,
people are afraid of brisket. I did an okay job on my first pulled pork. So you know this. I got afraid of pulled pork.
Yep.
Because I spent all this time, and it was okay. It wasn't bad, but it was okay. It's like you're gonna make some mistakes. But it's pretty hard to make a mistake with steak. It just is. Yep. It just is.
Well, brisket's that one for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still, even we did the brisket for the first show, and everybody thought, I have not nailed it. Yeah.
Come over to my house.
We've done a million.
If you are afraid of steak, Christmas brisket was home run. I'm telling you, home run.
If we're talking about being afraid of steak, did we or did we not just give those guys an out with the sous vide?
Oh, 1,000.
100%.
This makes it 100% easier, doesn't it?
That will save you a lot of headache and a lot of wasted money. Maz, what you got?
I got a question for you guys. As an amateur barbecue guy.
Yeah.
I am.
No baby meat questions.
I don't even call it. I'm not a griller. Listen.
That's right. Slow and low, Maz. Slow and low.
I kill stuff on the grill. I kill it. My wife gives me chicken. I'll overdo it. I do my steaks. I'll undercook them because I like it rare. They don't.
Yes.
My grill is not the best. It's an old Weber.
Yeah.
Just tell me the best way to put it. What do I do to put a steak on there to make it look really good?
That's a great question, man.
First thing you do,
dummy.
You get a great quality steak, and you don't want to mess it up. So let's take one step past. You got a great quality steak. I'm going to tell you. I'm going to blow your mind. It's simple. Get a thermometer. Get a thermometer. Use it. Right? So I'm telling you, get your chicken to 145, 150. then turn your flame down and let it come, or let your meat rest. It'll come up to that 160, so it'll be nice and done, but it won't be dried out sawdust, right?
All right, steak.
Same thing on the steak. Bring it, get that hard sear. Start high temp, right? Get your nice crust on the outside of your steak. Bring the temp down on there, or move it to a cooler spot on your grill and kind of let it roast or cook over there, right? And so you want to bring up the temp higher for the ladies in the house. Get your thermometer. You're going to pull yours off. You're going to get nice crust on that, nice hot.
Do you
have a
take
hot
the
and a
steak
cold
off
side.
and put the thermometer in?
Pull it back towards you. Pull your steak towards you. And don't be afraid. Put it in there in the center of the meat. Get your temperature, and then you'll be able to go from there.
Medium rare is what?
Medium rare is you're about $130, $135 max, and you'll be a nice medium rare.
In the middle of that steak, if it says 135, I'm good.
You could pull it at 130, 132. It's going to carry over a couple degrees. Yeah.
130, let it rest. And that way, when you cut it, it doesn't bleed all over.
Okay, let it rest.
There you go. Yeah.
Put
Juices
it
go
under
right
foil,
back in.
Put it on a plate and put foil over it?
That's your biggest. There you go. You're putting foil on there, and all you're doing is you're cooking it more. You're
but doesn't
trapping
it
in all the
it
heat.
gets cold.
You don't want to. If you're grilling a steak, you probably want to eat it fairly soon to when you're done grilling it. So okay, chicken's different. You can tent the chicken with that foil and keep it hot. It's fine. Your steak, you don't want to do all that. Right, so make sure the steak is the last thing you put on the grill. Everything else is ready. Honey, make sure all the sides, everything is ready to go. Girls, make sure you have the table set. We're going to rock and roll in 15. Boom, throw your steak on. Again, hot side of your grill, cold side of your grill, or cooler side, right? Yeah. High temp, low temp. Sear, cook.
Don't be afraid to touch.
Hang out with me a little bit.
I'll
teach you how to cook a steak.
I'm coming to the butchery.
Don't be afraid to touch it as you're cooking it. It's kind of, what is this? You kind of touch your hand here. That's it. As you start feeling it tighten up, that's when I know to put it in. I had the same problem. Everyone in my family had a different temp, right? So it was hard to cook it. So I just learned touch it. I got the feel of it, and I know when to put it in. I pull it 5 degrees, let it sit for about 4 or 5 minutes. Boom.
Thanks, fellas.
Yep.
Thank you, Mass. Sean, what are you doing? That tartare is nice stuff, isn't it?
With a fork, like it's cereal over
tartare.
there.
Eating that tartare is nice, isn't it?
You know what? And it's funny because, Maz, like, honest to God, the fact that you even want to talk about that, nobody likes to admit that. We're men. We're not allowed to talk about that. We're me, master of the grill.
It's true.
Look,
we're making it easy.
You're going to make mistakes. Mike, from day one that we started this, like, back in the springtime, okay? There are going to be things that you F up. I mean, there's just no other way to say that. We would like you to avoid some of that. Mike, we've been pretty lucky. We haven't screwed anything up yet.
We
really
have
have not
all
screwed anything up.
And there's no one more shocked than the two of us.
1,000%.
We haven't done it.
There is someone more shocked than you two. It's me.
Yeah.
Because I kid. No, I'm more shocked because, again, it's back to the thing. As a chef, as a steakhouse guy, I want to cook them fast and get them out to the table, right? I want to take care of my customers and I want to get it done now. The slow and low thing is a whole new world for me, and you guys are teaching me that part of it, right? To be patient and to let the meat do its thing, so it goes both ways.
So it can become baby meat, right? So it can be that melt in your mouth, soft meat that we all long for.
Maybe he was referring to it in a nice way, nice and soft. You're softening up that meat like a baby's bottom. I don't know.
All right, is there anything else we need to get to?
I think we should tell everyone what are we doing next. Sean,
wait,
tell us
we
what you want
talked
to do.
about it.
We talked about it, but
Did
I
we?
mean, Sean likes to go in Sean ways. So let's see if you remembered.
Oh, I'm trying to remember. Yes.
Did we talk about doing like St. Louis and babies?
But don't go too far because there's a couple different Chef Dave experiments that he's going to try in there too.
I'm proud of myself.
We're gonna do everything ribs.
Little
we're gonna
Sean's learning to fly.
We'll do. I got it. We're gonna do some St. Louis ribs, some baby ribs, some baby backs, and I'm gonna try this sous vide. I want to try this sous vide on some rib tips.
Oh,
so soften up the top of that rib, and then we'll let it. Throw it in the Traeger with some barbecue sauce and kind of let it make some little barbecue rib tips kind of thing.
He made some for us before they
Just
were
watch the gluten on that barbecue sauce.
All right, listen.
We'll make it 2 batches.
Make sure you check us out if you can. Like us on Instagram. I'll never join Instagram. Like us on Twitter. Like us on Facebook. Like Art. Art does a tremendous job. Be nice to Art. Art needs it in his life. Joike's too mean to him. Thank you. Check out everything we do on Woodward Sports. Mike, is there anything you want to add?
I was just going to add in because last time we were asking for everybody's questions, but we didn't have the Smoke Show WSN on Instagram and Twitter. So as you're watching this video, once Steak-A-Palooza drops, if you have your steak questions, get them to us via Twitter, get them to us via Instagram. You can even drop them right there on YouTube and Facebook when the video's going. We're more likely to get them on Twitter and Instagram, but go ahead, ask your questions about steak. We will answer them. We'll answer them next show.
And as an added bonus, we might have, like, you know, back in the day they would make an album and they would find a hidden track. Like after there might be a hidden track this week of a road trip where we go out to buy Sean another smoker. Sean's one smoker's on the DL right now, so Sean can't wait a couple weeks to get his smoker fixed. Sean must buy a new smoker. Why I'm talking about myself in the third person, I don't know, but I will tell you I am going to get another smoker. So even when my smoker gets off the DL, I'm still going to have 2 smokers. You can't cook enough. I'm having everybody over, as you guys know, on February 20th. So we're going to be doing a hell of a lot of cooking. I thought it might be a good idea to get myself an extra smoker.
And I think we can live stream that. That would be pretty hilarious. Yeah, if we did that. Can I mention someone real quick?
No.
Because we just got our Instagram and Twitter feeds, and we loaded up Twitter, and it already had someone following us. And I figured it was going to be, oh, well, we're already following ourselves. 1 follower, ha, ha, ha. Do you know who it was? I tell you who it was?
Dudek.
The one, the only Darren Dudek was following us, like, just as we became an account. He was just, like, hawking us.
What does Darren do?
What?
What does Darren do?
Darren is in the business of being Brown Dog, the owner of Brown Dog. He does mill work. He does construction for.
He did the work here at Lady Jane's.
The work here at Lady Jane's. The #1 follower and fan of the Smoke Show, Mr. Darren Dudek, who I will be watching the AFC NFC Championship games with at his wonderful lake house this weekend.
I've known Darren for a few years. We've known Darren for a few years.
And might I add, I've known Darren since I've met you, and he's come into the store. He likes good meat.
Yeah,
I'll tell you, he likes good meat. He
and
really
he
does.
But how many times does he come in for that prime rib? Because he was doing it for Christmas. I think he did 4 before Christmas because he wanted to get it perfect.
So good.
And
maybe
guess what?
Maybe that's why I like him, just like me.
Yeah.
And he's on a mission to get that prime rib perfect for his family.
Yep.
And I believe it was 3 or 4 weeks leading up. Every single week
We're doing a prime rib. I've already told McCarty, because McCarty was like, bro, you need to make a prime rib. And I was like, bro, we got you taken care of. So we're doing a prime rib when we have a shindig at my house for February 20th. All right, for my boys, Mike Iversell, Dave Hubbard at the Butchery, for Art, for everybody here at Woodward Sports, thanks for checking us out. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.